You know that moment when you want to ditch the winter hats and let your hair flow freely, but something's missing? You need that perfect accessory, a little something to tie your whole look together. Well, I've got just the thing, a stunning handmade hair ribbon. And trust me, it's so much easier to make than you think. But here's the twist. I wanted mine to be extra special with a touch of embroidery because why settle for ordinary when you can create something uniquely yours? All right, let's break it down. We're making this ribbon in three simple phases: pinning everything together, sewing, and assembling. First things first, here's what we need: two tail pieces, two bow pieces, and one wrap piece. Oh, and if your fabric is sheer like mine, you might want to cut an extra bow piece for lining. Totally optional, but definitely worth it for that polished look. Now let's prep our pieces. Start by pinning the tails, corners first, then the edges. And if you're wondering, like, can I pull this off? The answer is yes. Just follow along. Pro tip: since we're sewing on the wrong side, leave a small gap in the middle for turning. I mark mine with different pins so I don't forget. Trust me, nothing is worse than realizing too late that you have accidentally stitched everything shut, okay? Later, we'll sew a straight line starting from one mark of the gap and going all the way around to the other side. Moving on to the bow, we are doing the same thing. Right sides together, pins in place. If you're using lining, stack it on top. Keep the fabric nice and smooth, no lumps, no wrinkles. I like to kick things off by pinning one corner, then I'll pin the edge of that corner, and from there I'll go ahead and pin each corner. While I'm pinning, I make sure the fabric stays nice and straight. Once that is all set, I'll secure the edges with pins. Just like I did with the tail of the hairband, I've marked the gap for folding the bow to the front with two different pins. Onto the wrap, fold it in half, pin one edge, then the opposite edge, and finally add a pin in the middle. We're not going to make any gaps here because we'll be folding the wrap to the right side from one of these edges. Time to sew. Start at the marked gap, stitch forward, backtrack a little for security. This is the feature that you need to use on your sewing machine to do that. And then go all the way around. When you hit a corner, stick your needle into the fabric, lift the presser foot, and pivot your piece to the other side. Then lower the presser foot and keep on sewing. Now, slow and steady on the curves. Okay? Did you hear that? Any little wobble here, it will show when we flip it. So take your time. Once you hit the mark for your gap, don't forget to backstitch a few times to lock those stitches in place. Now, let's tackle the bow. Start at one of the marks and sew straight across. When you reach a corner, lift the presser foot, pivot, and keep sewing. Do your best to keep that line nice and straight. Sharp, clean edges are what we're after for the bow. Next up, we'll create a straight line for the wrap. And just like that, we're ready for the fun part, bringing it all together. This is where the magic happens. Clip those corners for a sharp, proficient finish. Then flip everything right side out. A crochet hook, knitting needle, or even a pen works wonders for pushing out those edges. We'll begin by trimming the corners on the wrong side, just making a tiny little clip at the very tip of each corner to get that crisp finish. Do this both corners, then flip it to the right side from the gap that we have made. When it's time to turn my wrap to the right side, I like to use a safety pin. Just attach it to one side, insert it, and flip it out. After that, give everything a good press and steam with your iron. Here is a very important tip. When you're pressing the wrap, make sure the sewn edge is centered, okay? As you can see, after ironing, they look amazing. Now let's shape this beauty. We'll sew a running stitch down the middle of the tail. I like to fold each piece in half, press it gently with my hand to help me find that middle line when I'm making the running stitch. Grab a needle and some sewing thread to sew them together. Then we'll repeat the same thing for the bow. This time I'll throw in a few extra stitches to make sure that when I pull my thread tight, it looks nice and polished. Now once that is done, pull it tight and wrap the thread around it to hold everything in place. The goal, a perfect cinched bow that looks effortlessly elegant. To finish it off, I'll tie 2 or 3 knots at the back to make sure everything stays put. Last but not least, the wrap. First, I'll measure and mark how much I need to cover the center of my hair ribbon. Then, I'll fold it to the side with the sewn edge facing me, which is the wrong side, and head over to my sewing machine to sew a straight stitch along the marked line. After trimming off the excess fabric, I flip it so the sewn edge is hitting inside. Next, I'll attach this piece to the bow and tail of my hair ribbon like this. And boom, you are done! And there it is, a gorgeous handmade hair ribbon that looks straight out of a boutique. Perfect for gifts, styling, or just adding that extra flair to your outfit. Finally, all that is left to do is add the clip to the back. You can either attach it this way to use it for other future projects or secure it with some hot glue or fabric glue. And by the way, you can make these in so many colors and styles. Floral, solid, embroidered, the sky's the limit. And if you want a step-by-step embroidered version, let me know in the comments and I will do it. And don't forget to grab the free pattern I linked in the description and comments below. Like, subscribe, and with that, all that is left to say is that until next time, I'll see your beautiful, gorgeous face next time. Bye!